It's time to start restoring these amazing dresses that were gifted to me. Each one of these dresses in this video are going to be restored and then they'll be posted for their second chance. You gotta listen to this one though. So crunchy. I love this gown with the silk embroidered flowers, but as you can see, it's got a lot of stains in the front. That's the area where I'll be focusing most heavily, but the back, oh my gosh, the bow is just sad. Then we have this little dress that seems unassuming at first, but wait, there's more. And no, I'm not talking about the back of it, which by the way is where I found that the zipper is going to need to be mended. But this is what I mean. This dress has an overskirt that helps you adjust the length, and it also has some big stains on it. Then we have the polka dot dress, the one that you all have been asking me about, and yes, it's even cuter on the mannequin, but these are the stains on the back that I need to remove. Overall though, I think I can tackle these. Tested all of these for dye bleed first, but to get started, I'm going to be using 3 scoops of Nellie's laundry soda. I love this product for getting out a bunch of the dirt and grease before I go in with something a little heavier, and I'm sure many of you will be happy to see that yes, I am now wearing gloves. Water is a warm temperature to also help make sure that the colors aren't bleeding into each other, and as you can see, I'm actually doing several pieces at a time this time. Generally do things like this if a lot of the fabrics are more of a chiffon or a lightweight, meaning that I know that I can fit all of these in there at the same time and they'll still be able to move in the water. Unlike a wedding dress, which tends to be made of a heavier material, so it needs to be washed all on its own. With the first wash, there were a lot of smells coming off of this stuff, which is pretty normal. You've got to think, some of this stuff has just been sitting somewhere for decades. It's going to smell a little bit when it hits the water. As you can see, it was changing pretty quickly and it got to a point that I needed to drain it to get ready for the next cycle. When the water starts to really discolor like you're seeing here, you don't want to leave it sitting in there because it can only further discolor your clothing. Next up, I'm going with this Odor Blaster by Arm & Hammer. This was kind of a newer step for me, but oh my gosh, it made all the difference. I did about 2 capfuls of this, also still in warm water. I loved how quickly it started to lift that odor that was setting in and replaced it with a much more clean, fresh scent. At this part, I started separating out the pieces. That way I could focus on their individual washing limitations, and I based this on their fabric type. I was really surprised that for the second wash, so much ended up coming out in the water. Look at this. It's almost more murky than the first wash. After I figured I got as much out as I could, it was time to drain the water again. Look at that, oh my god. People ask me all the time if I wring the clothing out. I don't. I just lift it up, I hold the weight with my arms and press it up against the side of the tub. At this stage is when I look at each garment to see where I need to focus special attention. Now I'm moving on to my OxiClean White Revive treatment. This will ultimately help brighten up those colors, and I do just a touch of fabric softener because some of this stuff really needed to be conditioned. After that, it was back to a lifetime of hand washing. But thankfully, you get to watch this all in fast motion. You can see here that the water is starting to take a different tone. No longer is it all yellowy and super murky, so at this phase, I'm gonna go ahead and start focusing on some of those heavy set-in stains. I like to go in with Nellie's Wow Stick because I find it to be the most effective. Then I soaked all of this in cold water and then went and rinsed each individual piece. This is just to make sure that there's no lingering detergent or fabric softener. Again, I don't wring garments, I just gently squeeze out the water. You'd be surprised that this is like a most asked question, so here it is. I draped them all over the tub so that they could drip dry most of the water out overnight, and then once they were just damp, I hung them up so that they could dry completely. Stay tuned if you want to see what each one of these look like after.